He wants to make the jump from editorial offices and prospects that he fears may be unsound onto the listing death trap scaffolding of a freelance existence. Editor of the impeccably hip fanzines Stardock and Gothique, back cover collage portrait of Frank Zappa made from cops and corner stores and motorcades, an article on the right-wing agenda of the Superman entitled Propaganda or Why the Blue Beetle Voted for George Wallace, Ramsey Campbell's penetrating piece on the grotesque in music, Saint-Saëns to the Velvet Underground. Stan Nichols has established his Notting Hill Buddha frame at Bookends, a science fiction comic head shop out at Chepstow Place. He's offering a partnership, the opportunity to type up comic scripts during slack periods down in the bookstore's basement. Too good to pass up, and those freelance assignments keep on coming, bolstering his false sense of security. Curse of the Faceless Man, text stories, jungle fables for the Swedish market, Tarzan of Ikea. 20 episodes of sword and sorcery romp Orek the Outlander. Things look every bit as bright for him as they had for his parents at their new house on the hill in 1938. But this time it's not doodlebugs or German bombers. It's the Met, the Obscene Publications Squad. No warning sirens and no backyard shelter for the R. Crumb cum shots or the S. Clay Wilson severed pirate dicks to huddle in until everything's over. There's no ack-ack shooting back. During all this his father dies, a golf course stroke, just short of turning 65. The pulmonary guns fire everything they've got into a popping, strobe-lit heaven, emptying the chambers. Busted, Bookends is shut down, 1973. He's writing comics to pay off $5,000 in business debts, but it's a largely loveless chore these days. The glitter long since rubbed from all the stern-eyed starmen, alter ego icons for more optimistic times. Horror and weirdness, that's his tipple now. Bob Rickards launched 40 Times, a small print black and white blast of excluded news, damned data and Hunt Emerson cartoons from the polymath clutter of his Birmingham bedroom, its shoebox morgue files full of thunderstones and owl men, Morgour, simulacra, Indrid cold. Our man elects to pitch in with a study of the mystery beasts at large on Shooter's Hill. Black panthers, black dogs, black shuck, sighted mostly in proximity to the location's many water features, streams and mineral springs, and the forgotten river Ket or Quaggy. He's attempting to relate all this to Taoist principles, the dark and watery yin, the broken line, while, almost unintentionally, he begins to map the hill's imaginary contours and astral topographies for the first time, as if he's only just this moment realised where he is. Meanwhile, the days grind forward measured in worn-out typewriter ribbons. In 1964 he lands a gig at Thorpe and Porter's House of Hammer, script The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, captions oozing his still burgeoning obsession with Cathay. 1975 he's writing endless children's annuals, documenting the sex secrets of Bangkok for a softcore relaunch of Titbits, ducking furtively behind the mystifying pseudonym of Pedro Henry. When the work is thin, down to the Croxley onion skin, he'll work a day or two for Bram Stokes at the relocated Dark They Were and Golden Eyed, along the faintly miserable defile of St Anne's Court. Conveniently, this is where the Charlie Fort crowd get together once a week to sort their clippings out by category, BVM or SHC or MIB. He has his hand read by a friend of Ian Will, the hero in Ken Campbell's Fortean caper, and is told that when he's 27 he will meet the woman he is meant for. Mantically misled, on reaching the appointed age in June 76, he misidentifies a wan but personable co-worker at the shop as his intended, but she's not. She's not. She's got a boyfriend, got a monkey, and the rail track creases in his palm were wrong, led only to this disused branch line, this neglected siding. In October, quietly, imperceptibly, the filmy and prismatic bubble of his life explodes, burst by a fingertip from the outside. He's bought an exorcism sword on the first day of the new month. 108 Chinese coins, cash coins, the perfect geomantic number, square holes at their centres, bound together by red thread into the flat shape of a ritual blade for banishing. A king of swords, the Hebrew letter that's attributed to his tarot trump being Zain, a sword, his passion for sinology awakened by Wang Yu's The Sword, and now this. Clearly asking for it, he decides to use his new toy in a first-time improvised attempt at magic, winging it, asking for guidance and, if it's not too much trouble, a confirming dream. At 4 a.m. next morning, he wakes up to darkness and a male voice whispering a single word into his ear. Endymion. At first it's gibberish. Another false start like all that matchmaking palmistry. Then he remembers where he's come across the word before, a book he'd not particularly enjoyed, Erotic World of Fairy. It's a poem by John Keats based on a Greek myth, its last 50 lines written at Box Hill, one of the heights visible from Shooters Hill towards the south. It seems Endymion's a shepherd boy who falls in love with the divine Selene, goddess of the moon and moon itself. Reciprocating his affections, she explains that since she is the queen of night and dreams, there are no means by which he might be with her always, other than the death in life of an eternal sleep, an offer that he gratefully accepts, and that's it, more or less. Lucian has Endymion on the moon in his True History, as pirated by Carl Friedrich Hieronymus, Baron von Munchausen, which leads to Robin Williams mugging his way through the role in Terry Gilliam's film adaptation. Frankly, none of this seems very promising. Then the coincidences start. The library angels hurling some required book from the shelves down to the tiled floor at his feet. His life, his human narrative, begins to trespass on the drafty borderlines of the fantastic, as defined by Tsvetan Todorov, a literature of hesitation that refuses to decide between a rational or supernatural resolution. Henry James' turn of the screw. Are spectral entities at work here, or has the protagonist gone bonkers? Dreams and signs provoke him to investigate the source material, the unembellished myth, and he accumulates a massive library of classics that will match the still expanding I Ching and science fantasy collections, while necessitating surrendering another bedroom wall to academic kudzu. He tracks down the legend's pedigree to Mount Latmos in Turkey, the discovery of caves believed to be the hermit shelters of dream oracles, Luftmensch, their lives spent in the presence of their lunar goddess, on the nod, perhaps dosed up on extracts of her sacred visionary flower. Was this Endymion, his origin, or maybe an Endymion cult? Shooters Hill, Box Hill, Latmos. Something about hills here, hills and caves. There at his research in his anchorite retreat upon the summit, he constructs another joint and he considers, gradually identifies, as out beyond the window the decade winds down towards its discontented winter, its plutonium blonde denouement. This is how it is at the approach of the uncanny. Each progression in our comprehension of the concept like a footfall treading softly closer. This is how we act. No awe, no terror, just bland reassurance in our default certainty that this can't possibly be happening. Meanwhile, back on Earth, his native planet, things are going well. Regular work for 2000 AD or Marvel Comics UK satellite. Selene and a smattering of Olympians cavorting with Tom Baker in the slick Dave Gibbons crafted pages that he scripts for Marvel's Doctor Who. Entire Selenic empires of argent imperatrices fall into decline in the backstory of Laser Eraser, penned for Stylish Independent Warrior in 1981. At this last publication's New Cross comic shop come offices in 1982, he's ruinously smitten once again. Picks up another damp and spluttering torch, another big-eyed china doll behind the counter of a mylar-lined emporium. While she's on holiday that summer, he completes a first draft of the book-length piece of I Ching scholarship he's working on, Trigrams of Han, a drastic reinterpretation of the oracle which overturns, authoritatively, long decades of accreted dogma on the subject, and proposes a more complex and sophisticated model, a mnemonic mapping of the ancient Chinese worldview in its convolute entirety, imagining that this is how one goes about impressing pretty girls. In 1984, with the demise of Warrior, he moves with her to a shared house in Westcliff, Essex, the sole change of address he will make during his lifetime. Sticks it for 3 painful months, and then comes home to the familiar bed, familiar view, familiar chair. His mother hasn't touched a thing.